Good evening. Welcome to Your Mental Health Matters, brought to you by ONV. My name is Crystal Kelly. Welcome back to our session this evening. The whole month of May, we've been focusing on moms and just different topics when it comes to mental health. And so tonight, we are honored to have a special guest in the building. We're going to have her introduce herself and kind of tell us about you and your organization, and we can kind of take it from there.
Okay. So my name is Tonya Rogers, and I am a grief facilitator. And our organization is Mother to Mother here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I am a grieving mother. I'm on this journey. And my grief started 11 years ago on St. Patrick's Day, 2/13/17. Wow. My life changed before my eyes. I had to make the decision to pull the plug on my 23-year-old son, who had juvenile diabetes at the age of 9 and started having complications around 18. And we had some up days, we had some down days, but it ended up to him having a monster heart attack.
Oh, wow.
So being on this journey, it's been very, very difficult.
Right.
I have become a totally different person. I would never be the same person. And when we're in grief and we're going through grief and we're mothers in grief, we're looking for the same person. That person don't exist anymore.
Right.
That type of pain, you cannot be the same person.
Yeah.
You are really adjusting and learning how to adjust
That's right.
in this new familiar place.
Right. That makes
So,
sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes. So there are some times when I went through some things, some dark days. They were dark to get through where I'm at. I mean, there was substance abuse. There was suicide thoughts. There was time that I didn't even know that I didn't bathe afterwards. My daughter was like, "Mom, it's been about a week now. You ain't bathed. You ain't came out the room." All I did was sit in it because I didn't know what to do with that. I mean, like, I'm on this journey. It's unfamiliar. We don't supposed to bury our children. Our children are supposed to bury us.
Right.
But in this generation, we're finding more that we're burying them. So now we all have to get together and figure out how we can get through this.
Yeah.
How we can get through this.
That's right.
And one way of getting through it is you have to be very transparent of how you went through it. If you want someone to see hope or strengthen you, you have to be very transparent about what you went through.
That's right. So how did the organization evolve? Like, how did it come together?
Well, Pastor Kelso actually had been in the community. Pastor Alice Kelso had been in the community for 25 years. So her story was one of the first homicides back in the 1990s. So actually, my daughter worked it with her.
Okay.
And by me going through what I was going through with my grieving moments, she knew that I hadn't grieved, but she knew that I was getting deeper and deeper and getting lost into my grief. And she brought a flyer home, and she said, "Mom, I think it's time for you to go to this, and I'll go with you." And I was thinking to myself, I really didn't want to go, but since she asked me, because sometimes in grief we forget about our children.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And since she asked me, I was like, okay, I'll try it. And at that time, I hadn't even grieved yet. I hadn't even faced the pain. I just was in the pain, but they hadn't faced it.
Right.
So because I masked it, I mean, that was the way I got through it, and that's the way I needed to get through it, and that's the way I wanted to get through it, because I was immature in it. And sometimes in the community, you're looking for that help, and because people don't dress like us or look like us or have the degrees we have, we can't go to them because it intimidates us.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we're so fragile. Our heart is so broken and shattered. We still trying to figure this out. So going to that Mother's Day luncheon, it changed my life there. It had changed my life. To see other mothers surviving it and going through it and seeing what Pastor Alice Kelso was doing in the community. Like, wow, because I wasn't looking for no one to help me in the community.
Right.
Where would I start? Where will I start? Because people, after the funeral is over with, people are going to go their separate ways. They're going to go about their business. They'll tell you they're there for you. They this and they could be people that have resources for you. Sometimes people don't even know what to say to you because they're not experiencing it.
That's right.
So when you're sitting in it, you it's like, I don't know. I mean, like, do I want the help? And it's crazy because I was brought up in the church. And I went to church every other Sunday. And I still was like, If somebody talk about it, don't. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And that was almost 2 years to it. But when I went to the luncheon, my life changed. About 7 days later,
Okay.
after I went to that luncheon, I finally experienced true grief without masking it. Like I literally had the moment to where I couldn't stop crying, the twinkling in my throat, and felt like I was having an anxiety and having a heart attack. I really got to feel it.
You were
Because I was
releasing.
masking it.
Right.
I mean, I masked it. But I said to myself, if my daughter hadn't came to me with that event, where would I be in her grief? If Pastor Kelso hadn't started this years ago, where have I been with this grief? I'm going to tell you right now, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here. There's something about the presence of another mother that survived it, gives you hope.
That's it.
And there was so much hope in that room. There was so much hope in the room. But I want people to understand this now. Just because I'm on a different path on the sunny side of it,
Right.
I still struggle.
That's it.
There's still time I still want to smoke a blunt. There's time I still
Be
want to
real.
do what I want to do, you know?
Right.
And guess what? Let me be honest. I have backslide a couple times.
Yeah.
But it never stopped me from striving.
Yeah, that's it.
I just didn't stay there. You have to get up. And when you get up, you got to know when you get up, you got to be around some women that going through that pain that can speak to that pain.
That's right.
I'm telling you now.
That's it. So Dr. Kelso was the one that started this.
Pastor Kelso. Alice Kelso.
So how long ago was that? Like,
I joined in with her. I've been with her for 7 years now.
7 years,
Yes, but she been in the community over 25 years.
Long time.
Yeah. So when we got together,
Okay.
after she did that event, she got with me. The next year, she asked me to come speak at her event.
Oh, wow.
But that day, she didn't know that I hadn't grieved. So it had been 2 years, and I hadn't felt the grief. But 7 days later, I actually felt the grief, and I know that she knew that I had released it because she asked me the next year to be one of her guest speakers. I'm thinking like, really, God? So you really finna like, you know? But in between that year, God started bringing women's in my life, or I'll be at Walmart and I'll ask a mother like, hey, just being Curtis, how you doing?
Yeah.
Oh, today just one of them days. It's been 8 years. My son been gone, or my daughter been gone. I'm thinking to myself, so why are you bringing people to me? I don't even know what I'm doing in this. But I had released, so that gave him to like, okay, I allowed him to now do something different with this script because if I keep doing it, I'm gonna keep smoking, I'm gonna keep having sex, I'm gonna keep on drinking my wine because that's what I was familiar with and that's what I was comfortable with.
Right.
Cope with.
That's how I cope with it. At that time, that's how I cope with it.
You mentioned your other children and how much of an impact did that make for you to see that you wanted to change or needed to change? Because I do know our children model what we do. And you said your daughter, I don't know if she was already grown at the time or was she still a minor. How much has that, I guess, given you the strength to go through it a little better than what you said you had?
Because I know that she knew that there was something greater in me.
Love that.
I believe she knew in her heart that there was something greater in her because before we had already started preparing, we had in our minds, we had already started going through the change of his body because he came dependent on us.
Right.
We had to take care of him because he started losing his sight and then his kidneys started failing. He did 7 sections with kidneys. And we literally had to sit there in the room with him as he went through dialysis because he wasn't going to do it. So there's just things that we as a family was already exposed to before the actual death. So she was like, well, Mama, if you can make it through seeing blood run in and out of his body and going back in his body, surely you can get better with this grief and do something with it. So basically, she gave me something that I wasn't even looking for, but she knew it was in me.
Wow, that's deep. That's deep.
That's good. And you mentioned also the substance, the coping with that. Was it a way for you to just numb yourself, and forget about it? But with that, how do you guys approach those who are still in the substance use to deal with grief when they're not necessarily ready to hear everything else, whether it's faith in the Bible, and we're not trying to knock that or discredit that.
Right.
However, some people are just not there
Yeah.
because they've never been there.
Yeah.
And then how do you approach that?
Let them show up like they are.
Okay.
If they come in high, still treat them like they're a human being, because they're children. They still trying to find a way to live in this pain.
That's right.
They might not have the connection. They might not have the family support. You would be so surprised that the family that don't have the family support. Sometimes I am their only support. Sometimes Pastor Kelso is their only support. Sometimes mother to mother organization support group is their only support. So why would we allow them? Why would we open them up, but then leave them open like that? No, if you're gonna open somebody up, you best to be ready to pour back into them.
Right.
Because that's a dangerous place to leave somebody open like that.
And have nowhere to
let
go.
'em
And nowhere to go.
That's
Or
what I
go
think.
back to that same environment that was already
Yeah.
toxic before.
And then what I see with the substance use, and we have that, yes, in our community, but what I see is a lot of judgment.
Yes.
And that's unfair because, and we talked about this even before the camera started rolling.
Yeah.
How people come with their suits
Yes.
and ties
Yes.
and glamorous purses and all that, trying to help someone that they're really not trying to connect with, and in the back of their minds, misjudging because they have a substance condition now that they're dealing with the grief.
It's crazy you said that, because there was a mother that I was working with, and there was someone really hurted her really bad in the community that was suited up and saying they were for to help her, but they really damaged her.
I believe it.
They damaged her. And I'm thinking to myself now, if you want to, so if you're a leader in the community and you want to be a part of a change, you're going to have to come naked. You're going to have to come unnaked. You're going to have to come out of them suits and meet people where they at.
That's right.
And then what can we say then to those mothers that may be listening and want that? And if they have experienced that negativity, and I guess we would all say that here on this panel, don't stop there. Try the next one.
Yeah.
Yes,
right.
absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely. Because there is going to be somebody that's going to, we're like magnets. Like when another mother is around me, I can feel what stage she in her grief. It's 12 stages of grief. I can just feel it because I done experienced all of it. And guess what? I still do experience it. Sometimes I have to go backwards to revisit some pain. So that way, when I get introduced to a fresh mother on this journey, I can dive in with her with it.
That's
And I
good.
can just let
really
her
good.
understand, hey, look, I know what you're going through.
Yeah.
I like that.
I know what you're going through.
think some
Because
people get
it's so much deeper than the suits in the community. It's so much different. Look at me today. I ain't coming in no suit, and I'm
good.
coming in with me as a character. I want to be real. I want these mothers to heal. I want these mothers to know that it's very possible that you can still grieve and be okay.
Come on.
Yeah.
That's right.
But you're going to go through those moments.
Gotta face it.
And you have to be around the people that can pour into you, because people kills me talk about, well, you ought to be over it. How can you be over
I
something
hear
that
that
you
too.
done
Right.
carry and birthed and that's no longer there? And they don't understand that they're really damaging that person when they say that, because you don't even know where that person
Thank
at.
you.
It's 12 stages. They might still be in the denial stage.
Come on.
And you sitting up there telling them they ought to be over it. You don't even know what that person doing that night. You don't even know how they're coping with it.
That's right. Good point.
And that's a big misconception about grief in general, not just for mothers. People feel that just because it's been a year, it's been 5 years, whatever, that you're supposed to be at a destination. And that's not true, because you can go backwards in the stages. You can go
Many
forwards
times.
and
Right.
be on top of everything.
Yes.
And I guess I would want to share that it's not a destination. And hopefully you have your people in your corner, your support systems that can help you through each portion of it, each portion of the journey, because it's a continuous journey, a lifelong journey, not a destination. And I think, and I thank you guys for having that organization.
Yes.
And we're trying to get the word out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask too. What's you guys' numbers like these days as far as?
Well, you
that's a
know
good
what?
question.
Let me tell you this. we didn't had groups where it was just me, Pastor Kelso, and our other facilitator. And then there's times when we might have 12 or 13. And there might times when we have 3 or 4.
Okay.
But the thing that I love about it is when I'm out, like if I'm out in the club somewhere, they just come to me like magnets. So that is my time to market it because I'm partnering with a pastor. People put me on this high pedestal. No, she's been called to pastor, not me.
Right.
I'm just being called to
Do your
walk this
part.
journey with her because what people have to understand is our audience are going to be different.
Yeah.
I'm going to go in the club and fish and get them.
Come on.
Because I know that's where they at.
Yeah.
And I know they need what I got. And I want to be able to help them. So no matter if they're in Walmart, at the gas station, in Legion, or
Right.
wherever, I'm
Right.
going to meet them right where it's at. Because you know what? Somebody met me with it.
Come on.
Right.
And that's what you have to do. You have to get back. You have to
love
reach
that.
back in the community and get these. We're trying to reach back and get these mamas
Come
and let
on.
them know we are here. Because some people be like, well, how much do y'all charge? We don't charge none.
So what does a typical session look like?
Yeah,
Oh my God.
that's a good question.
Sometimes it could be quiet. Sometimes it could be very heavy. Sometimes some can be very emotional.
Right.
And sometimes people then got up and walked out.
Yeah.
What's the time frame like?
So basically as far as what time
Like
do
how
we
long
meet?
do you guys meet?
We usually meet for about an hour, but there's times when we done went over an hour and some minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
We went over some hours of meeting. And what I love about it, I guarantee you, if you come heavy, you ain't gonna leave heavy.
Yeah.
There's some hope in that room, honey. There is
love
hope
it.
in that room. There is strength in that room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's women of strength that live it and been through it.
Come on. That's right.
That's why I say it's something about another mama that gives me more and more drive to keep going in this community and meeting where I'm at.
that.
Like some people be like, I'm not going and doing this. That's okay. It ain't for you to do that.
That's it.
Right.
That's it.
And see, people got to stop comparing to everybody's calling and
Right.
purpose. And like people think, you're partnering in with a pastor. Oh, no, I'm not coming. Oh, no. No, I want you to come because I want you to know that I'm partnering in with her for a reason.
Yeah.
This is a totally different type of new generation of mothers that's grieving.
Yeah.
This is the 2020 version of mamas.
That's
You going to have to meet them in allegiances.
That's
You might have to meet
right.
them at the Walmart in the gas station, but you don't stop serving them.
That's it.
No matter where they at.
Right. So
Great
then,
point.
when you're saying that one, talk to the faith leaders in their congregations that may need the assistance. One, and then the faith leaders that only bring "Let's pray"
Yeah,
and they're done.
right, right.
So what can you give them?
I mean, you definitely can't take God out of it because, of course,
Right.
you know, He is the one definitely that's doing this for me. But in the same minute, you can't be judgmental either because you can't throw the Bible at everybody every single time if you
Very
want to
true.
open somebody up.
Yeah.
You got to really, I'm not saying don't use it, but you really, 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 really just got to really, really, really be vulnerable to them.
Come on. That's
You
right.
have to be vulnerable to them. It's a great thing. God is everything to me. But believe me,
Come on.
believe you me, I'm going to still do what I need to do for these mothers.
Yeah.
I'm not finna say, oh, you ought to be in a better place. If they call me, I said, we just like the police call me in the middle of the night. Because
you go.
sometimes I be up anyway.
Yeah.
So there's times when I had calls in the middle of the night. And that's what? And I had to be to work at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. But getting that mother through that moment
Right.
brought so much more powerful than getting that sleep that night. Because when I woke up that morning, I ain't feel no because I did what God needed me to do.
That's
I
it.
served His people.
That's it.
And that's what it's about. We got to serve His people.
I love
you
that.
just can't serve His people in church. You're going to have
Right.
to come
That's
out the
very
church.
true.
You got to come out the walls.
Yeah.
You're going to have to come out the wall because this community needs somebody that's really making it.
That's it.
They need to see that you can make it.
That's it.
You know,
I love that.
because once you open up and you start getting better in your grief, you'll start being hungry for God. Because in order to keep getting it, you're going to have Him in it.
Right.
But I'm going to tell you now, don't drill Him with it.
Yeah.
You
That's a
can't
turn off.
because
Right.
our mental health society ain't coming like that.
Yeah.
They coming like people that look like me and
Right.
you that's surviving it.
Come on.
Well, you
So-
hit on something a bunch of times that I talk about a lot. And, it's about connection.
Yes.
And when you connect with people,
Yes.
then they'll buy what you sell.
Yes, absolutely.
But if
I
you don't
agree.
connect with people, they're not buying it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And especially when it comes to things like grief, because it's one of the few kind of mental health issues that a lot of people aren't willing to let go of that just yet.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like that. I don't want to say it's like my pain is all I have left of them.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
And so
yeah.
a lot of people hold on to that, and
Yes.
so to convince them to let it go, they feel like they're betraying
Right.
that person they love.
Yes.
So grief is a very unique thing, and
Yes.
to have the support,
Yes.
the community.
Yes.
Again, it goes back to connection. Dr. Connolly, one of the guys I train with, he says, connection alone poisons the air for despair.
Yeah.
It's hard to feel despondent and all alone
Yes.
when I got somebody right there with me
Yes.
that's
There you
going
go.
through it,
Yes.
and they know
Can
how I
understand
feel.
it.
They
That's
connect with
it.
me.
And
So
see,
yeah,
and
I like
another
that.
thing too, in our community, they think because if an Afro American woman or somebody is running this type of a business with this type of pain, the first thing they think we're gonna open up our mouth and tell who was there. We don't do that.
Confidential. Yeah.
We're big on that confidentiality because guess what? I had to trust somebody with mine.
Yeah.
And it's an honor to be able to even allow to be trusted with that type
Yeah,
of pain.
big time.
Right.
Because I'm telling you, I ain't trust nobody with. I ain't even want to be bothered with my kids, my sister and them. They was getting on my nerves at the time. I felt like I was like, dang, why you just leave me alone? You know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't ready for whatever I needed to be ready for. I needed to go through that. And I tell anybody right now that's watching it, if you have a friend that's going through grief right now, sit with her in the pain.
Yeah.
It's gonna be awkward.
Yeah.
Because she ain't no grieving mama.
Right.
But sit there with the pain. Sometimes all we need to know that you are present
That's
enough
it. That's
to
it.
sit right here
Not
while
saying
I
anything.
empty out. It's snot in my nose,
Come on.
red eyes, hair all over my head, looking like a wild, crazy animal. Because that's what you be looking like.
Yeah.
Well, that's what my daughter said I look like. I ain't know what I look like, girl.
Right.
I wasn't trying to look in no mirror. I wasn't even trying to get out of bed alone.
Yeah.
I ain't even want to get out of bed, the bathe, use the bathroom, nothing. But when I use the bathroom, I ain't wash my hands and I look down because I ain't know who that person was anymore.
Right.
Because here is an unfamiliar trauma, pain that I don't even know what I'm doing with this. That's scary.
So when you first then went through it, was this your first experience with grief in groups, or did you have an opportunity to go outside before you met
I
up
did.
with?
Not at all.
Wow.
Not
And
at all.
see that's interesting because that's what our community is used to.
Yep.
We don't have that. We don't have those connections.
Yeah.
So definitely we have to
Yeah.
get you guys.
Yeah. So now
Yeah.
there was some connection, y'all. And there's so many resources that we're resort to do. Like Aaron's house. We
Yeah.
went and got certified facilitators. That's why we
Okay.
certified facilitators because we went
love
through
that.
Aaron's house. So I didn't even know a 3-year-old. They gave me, and this is so crazy, the week that I was getting trained, our organization was getting trained with Aaron's house was the same week of my son's anniversary day. So I was thinking to myself, so God, you got me going to this. And I'm still it was very uncomfortable.
I bet.
But I never and then they stuck me with the 3 to 5-year-olds.
Oh,
And I'm like,
babies.
3 5-year-olds don't know what to grieve. And they told me if they can love, they can grieve.
Big
And I
time.
got to see it. It's a whole totally different type of
It
grief
is.
watching them. And they are so very detailed about grief. You know, they showed them like to write it out. But their
Right.
verbally was saying, I was thinking to myself, wow. And so I was blessed. Even though it was a trying week for me, but God really showed me His promise is that He never leaves us where we at.
Come on. I love that.
So He showed me that.
Yeah.
So when He showed me that, so I just decided, okay, well, I'll show up.
Come on.
Just continue to show up with me, but please let me show up as me.
That's it. That's it.
That's a good
If
one.
you want me to do this ministry,
Right.
I need to show up as Tonya Renee Rogers.
Come on.
I need to show up as her.
Can't be
I
nobody
cannot
else.
show up as
That's right.
no high heels with no Gucci purses or none of that.
Right.
That
Be
ain't
you.
what I'm coming to
Yeah,
do.
be
No.
you.
I need to
Can't
show
be
up
nobody
as
else.
That's
me
The real deal.
with the crochets in my head, with the big arms, with the You know, I need to show up as
Come
me.
on. That's
Right.
right. That's right.
And that's what you got to be honest. You got to be honest with people.
Yeah.
And if you're not ready to be honest, sit down.
That's it.
Because you don't want to keep damaging them.
Come on.
Because you don't know who connected to them.
That's
They
right.
got kids. They got sisters. They got husbands. They got wives that's trying to survive this. The whole household is in a wreck.
Yeah.
Because if mama's not grieving right, everybody is not going to grieve right.
That's right.
And that's what was going on with me and my children. I wasn't grieving right. And they was poisoned. They was poisoned by my pain. And to where it led one of my daughters to have drinking problems. But when she started seeing me heal, I started seeing a decrease in the drinking.
See?
I was like, all right, God, okay, all right, this feels good. But I let her know it's okay to talk.
Yeah.
There's times when I have to go sit on her bed and say, it's okay. Where you at with it?
Come on.
Where you at with your grief?
I love that.
And I told my sister, like, if I can sit with another mama in her grief, why I'm not sitting with my own child in hers?
Thank you.
Why
That's
I'm
it.
not concerned about where she at with her grief?
That's it.
Every now and then I gotta check in with my girls.
Yeah.
I gotta
Connection.
check in with me.
That's right.
So I can keep checking in with them.
Right.
That's right.
Because it's not nobody's responsibility to heal them.
Come on.
That came from me. And there's no reason why that I could walk around and pour everybody else and can't pour into my own kids.
Your own
But that's where I was at in life.
Wow.
But boy, now. Oh no. I'm sitting on that bed. What's going on? Where you at with it?
That's right.
Where you at? What, you want to talk?
Yeah. You
So
gotta do that
the mother
regardless,
to
too.
mother, is it restricted to moms or can like
No,
your daughters?
because children come because we're certified with children.
Okay.
The daughters can come, husbands can come, boo things can come, boyfriends, they or whatever. I mean, grief is grief.
Yeah.
Grief does not look a certain way.
That's very true. Very
It
true.
does. It does not look a certain way, y'all. It don't. And men's are hard to pull, but there's some men's I was able to bait in.
Yeah.
But it took some time. And one thing about grief, and when you're mentoring families, or you there, or you helping others do it, you gotta have time. You gotta have patience.
That's right.
You gotta have
Very
patience
true.
with them.
Yeah.
But if they come and they hide, I mean, there's people that can't smell like weed. I ain't said nothing. I ain't misjudged them or anything. I sat right in it with them. Because guess what? I was doing it too.
Yeah.
So I knew what it smelled like. I ain't say nothing.
Right.
When they came in, I hugged right on them.
Come on.
Now somebody else would be like, oh, judgment. Oh, no, we ain't judging here. We trying to survive over here.
That's it.
And we need to survive so these people can survive. This community have to get better.
Come on.
We have to get better. We have to start. I mean, we got the tools and we got the money. Open up some of these houses.
Yeah.
I think we need a grievance center on our side of town for our children.
I know that's
Because
right.
everybody can't drive
get-
to
yeah, out
Aaron's
north.
house.
That's
There you
right.
go.
Everybody don't have the proper car. We're dealing with a community that live in Eaton Green that want the help, but don't have the car, the transportation.
That's right.
We need to bring more stuff in the community so we can start helping these mothers and fathers and stop
love
telling
that.
people they stupid and crazy. They crazy because they ain't got nowhere to go.
That's it.
Right.
So we're coming up to the end of the podcast, and this is amazing. I know we got to do another part 2.
That's how it
There's
is.
like so
we got
much we
started.
want to
Yeah.
ask,
Okay.
but
It
we
is.
have such a short amount of time.
Understood.
So again, we're here with Miss Tonya Rogers from Mother to Mother. We're talking about mothers and grief. And so wrapping up the podcast, can you just share with us again the name of the organization, who's involved?
Okay.
How do we get involved? Like, how
Okay.
can a mom reach out and your, information
Okay.
about the organization?
So, Mother to Mother, we meet every first Thursday in the month
Okay.
at 2317 Holton Street. Our Facebook is Mother to Mother Support Group,
Okay.
Fort Wayne. You can reach me at 260-515-6964. And my name is Tonya. I'm Vice President. Pastor Kelso is the CEO and founder.
Okay.
And also, you can reach me at Tonya9204@gmail.com.
Okay.
And you can also get in my inbox, and that's fine. I'm right on Facebook, Tonya Rogers. Just if you need me, just reach out.
Yeah.
I'll sit in it with you.
I love
Because
that.
I know it. I know what it's like. I know what it's like not to have it.
That's it.
I know what it's like have it, but then you don't want it. So I want to be able to, and Mother to Mother, we want to be able to ride this journey with you.
Yeah.
We want to walk with this journey without being judgmental. If you under the influence and you want to just come and empty, just come sit in.
That's
It's okay.
it.
We gonna still treat you the same.
And one last thing that I'm curious about is are you guys connected with any big organizations such like Parkview? Like, do you guys get like referrals?
We used to Parkview used to help us, like our very first event. Parkview used to help us like do some of our grief events.
Okay.
Now, but we do have like Parkview Behavior,
Okay.
Aaron's House, of course.
Okay.
So we do have resources in the community for people, because sometimes if we can't do it, we will let them know.
Yeah.
We will get you to somebody can do it.
That's it.
It's not. We ain't gonna always be the one that they might be connected to, but we'll
Right.
get somebody to get you connected.
I love
to.
that.
Right.
I
Now,
love
that's
that.
what we gonna do.
Okay.
We gonna do that.
That's what's up.
All
That's
right.
all right. Yeah.
So thank you again. We're very
Yeah,
honored to
thanks for
have you
coming.
on tonight's
Appreciate
panel.
it.
I mean, this is amazing. And we definitely want you to come back.
Okay.
And Pastor
Yes.
Kelsall, if she's available,
Yeah.
to hear her
Come back.
story.
Oh
yes.
my God,
Yes.
it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yep.
So again, this is Your Mental Health Matters. Next month, for the month of June, we're going to focus on dads, Father's Day. And so please tune in the first and third Friday of each month. Again, we'll be talking about dads and their mental health. So tune into that. So again, thank you for joining us tonight, and definitely see us back here next month. Okay.